Thank you, Ashutosh, and thank you, Ria. Namaskar and good morning, and a very warm welcome to Mr. Anurag Gour. I hope Mr. Gour has joined. Ashutosh and Ria?
Yes. Ma'am, he'll be joining in sometime. I'm just. Yes, ma'am, he's there. Yeah.
Okay. A very, very warm welcome to Mr. Anurag Gour. Mr. Gour, thank you so much. I know what a busy schedule you have, and yet you have taken out time to be here with us to talk to the young minds, and we are really grateful to you for it. This is your first visit to SCMS, though a virtual one, and I'm not going to let go of this opportunity to tell you a little bit about our institute. I won't take more than 2-3 minutes. SCMS, or Symbiosis Center for Management Studies, as I would describe it, is a platform which provides opportunities to students, opportunities to learn from the best faculty, opportunity to study the subjects that they like, which we popularly call as cafeteria approach, opportunity to learn from our sister institutes, opportunity to walk out of this institute after 3 years with not just a BBA degree, but maybe with a HubSpot degree, a Google certified degree, a Six Sigma degree certificate, equity trading certificate by ICICI, or a certificate by some international university through massive open online courses and so on. This is the institute which also offers opportunities to students to go for semester abroad. However, what I'm very proud of is what we introduced last year, which we call as internationalization at home. That is, the students of our institute, along with the students of the institute in US, work together on a project, live project. And it's not just faculty teaching each cohort, but it's more about the students interacting with each other, crossing the geographical boundaries, crossing the time boundaries, and crossing the cultural boundaries. We also believe that our students should learn, respect, and contribute to the community, and therefore they work for around 120 hours with an NGO. Last year, we were awarded the Guinness certificate of participation for creating menstrual hygiene among the largest group of adolescents. Mr. Gour, this is also the institute which offers opportunity to students to participate in various student activities. In fact, last year we had around 100 student activities which were either organized or where our students participated, and 50 of them were organized during Sympulse, which is one of the largest student festivals in the country and completely organized by students. This is the institute which allows students to work together to implement what they have learned in class, and they work together for months. Almost 500 students work together to make Sympulse a successful festival. I can go on and on, Mr. Gour, but I must also tell you that this is the institute where students are not taught diversity, because we have students from more than 30 different countries studying here together. And when the world was hit by this pandemic around 4 or 5 months ago, when disruption happened, it affected the academic sector also very badly. However, I'm very happy to tell you that we were able to start our classes bang on time on 1st June for the senior students, and we ensure that the learning of our students is not affected. Not just the learning, even the student activities are not affected. They perform on Facebook and Instagram now, and we also ensure that they continue to get an opportunity to learn from dignitaries like you. I'm so happy with the subject that you have chosen to speak to these young students about, to these young minds. So interesting. Even this old mind is very, very interested to listen to you. Thank you once again for being here today, and we look forward, and I'm waiting eagerly to listen to you. Welcome to SCMS, Mr. Anurag.
Thank you, ma'am, for your kind and heartening words.
To address the new batch of students at SCMS Pune, we are extremely honored to have among us today Mr. Anurag Gour. He's currently the Director Partner Development at Microsoft. He has juggled roles in marketing analysis, relationship marketing, digital strategy, integrated marketing communication and office demand center over his 14 years working at Microsoft. He's also the recipient of the Best Brand Launch, Best Complete Campaign, and several other awards for Microsoft's Windows 8 launch program. He has over 23 years of industry experience in tech marketing, advertising, automation, consumer marketing, media buying, agency management, analytics, and digital marketing. He will be sharing with us today his valuable insights on disruption, transformation, and careers.
The only constant is change, and it's now time to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Without further ado, I'd request Mr. Anurag Gour to please address the students.
Good morning, everyone. Hello from Gurgaon, and I'm just doing a sound check and a video check. Can you confirm if you can hear me? And
Yes, sir.
can see the
All
slide?
Everything is all good, sir. Yes, sir.
Fantastic. So thank you so much for your kind words, Dr. Sharma. And Ashutosh, thank you for that lovely introduction. Sometimes it feels good to hear back of the path that I had chosen. Therein lies the first point that I do want to share. You have the choice. The times can be disruptive. The times can be nice. We all face that cyclical up and down. This is perhaps a 100-year cycle of a pandemic repeating itself in the world today. And how, as human beings, and how as and I do see all of you all as the privileged few who are skilling themselves, who are getting this exposure at this point of time in your careers, as at the onset of what disruption can do at such a large scale. And keep in mind, Ria just said change is the only constant, oft repeated cliche, but it really is true. And I do want you all to focus on things that are in your control. When you think about your careers, you are in control of transformation, and you are in control of choices that you make. Every what Ashutosh just said in describing the paths that I have taken, I was confronted by choices to either transform myself and grow in my career, or to stay put and be in my comfort area and not really move about or reinvent myself. Those are choices, and you will keep getting those choices. What disruptive times do essentially is that they push you harder. As my CEO, worldwide CEO for Microsoft, Satya, recently said, we've seen about 4 years of transformation in our customers in the last 4 months. That's massive. So you, as the skilled people who will be entering the job market soon, as soon as you guys finish your course, you are the drivers of transformation. You are the drivers of fine choices that help you create your value and your organization's value in disruptive times. Let me move on, and let me know if the slides have moved for you all.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
See, you will see more change in the next 10 years compared to what has happened in the last 250 years. Technology is a key driver. In the next 20-30 minutes, I plan to share with you of what I see as working in a technology company, of changes that are happening, of transformations that are happening, and how they're accelerated by this disruption. This is just a point in time. It has happened. This pandemic has hit us. We will solve for it. It will take us more than normal, and we will feel this coming closer to our lives, people we know, our families, and we'll come through it. But we will see a bunch of transformation, digital or otherwise, in business models or in career choices. And such disruptions also create ambiguous situations. And as managers, as future managers, you need to be thriving in such ambiguous time. How you create clarity, how you move forward, how you use digital platforms to connect uh, the supply side to the demand side and create value, not only for yourself. And believe me, in everything that you do, you will be, and if you're not creating value, then there is no fun. I mean, you will lose out on that. But in everything that you do, you are creating value not only for your organization, but for yourself also. Because that experience, the result of that choice sits inside you. It sits in your profile, it sits in that next conversation you'll have for a promotion, or it gives you that insight to make another choice, perhaps reinventing yourself, perhaps adding to your skill set. I could not, I felt very nice in listening to the lady who was talking in the TEDx session just before I started. And she said a couple of wonderful things. She said, your body is a miracle. I don't want to stop it at that. I'd say you are the miracle. And you are the privileged few in this country, if you keep it in context, that you are that few single digit of the population that is getting such a great exposure, getting such a great experience, acquiring skills at such a prestigious institution. And you guys will be driving the transformation that will happen, the value creation that will happen, irrespective of disruptive times or not. So, see, today, as we see it as Microsoft, we are seeing transformation across industries. You name it, and we all, we've all used Uber, we've all used Big Basket and the likes of it. We get digital delivery of content. We are all, India still is largely a single screen home when it comes to television. People are consuming more and more on their personal devices. Look at the content media boom that has happened, the OTT channels, everything is transforming in how it is consumed, how people think of business models, how people think of, Airbnb is another example, OYO Rooms another example, though the times are so disruptive. But look at the fact that these guys like Airbnb and OYO Rooms, they actually don't own hotels. They don't have a room inventory of their own. While guys like Marriott or Hyatt, these groups have large inventory, large people. So, how does transformation and how does this pandemic affect them and their business models? Will they be able to survive and come out stronger? And how do they therefore create value for their customers in these new times? So whether you look at manufacturing, cost is an important point, important aspect at this point in time. Look at how we are changing as a country, how we are changing our policies of import, whether we are raising trade tariffs, restricting items that come normally from China at lower price points. How do you relook at your input costs, and how do you look at your processes? Can you benefit from automation? Look at energy. Look at how the automobile sector is now supposed to gear itself not only in recovering the sales that they would have lost in the pandemic times, but also to reinvent themselves, transform themselves for perhaps a EV future, an electric vehicle future. How does that change? How does the energy sector change? Distribution and cleaner power. How do you handle, if you're thinking of careers in retail, how do you think of delivering a customer experience in these times where perhaps the customer cannot come to the mall and touch, feel your product? So in that sense, there is a rapid change in expectations of your consumer to come, touch, feel the product, and therefore opportunities for content writers, for video creators to help the customer take a more informed decision, and therefore stitching the retail experience on the content and on the content side, on informed decision making side, as well as using technology like VR, in like augmented reality, in being able to place that, let's say, place that piece of furniture inside your home. How do you use technology for that? How do you use transformation for that? So we are seeing all of that. Government and public sector companies, they are transforming big time. How do we continue to give citizen services? How do we continue to build smart cities? All of this is being accelerated by this disruptive time. Transportation, look at what Mahindra is doing with tractor ownership. You can, I mean, they've envisioned a Uber type solution for tractors. It still continues to be in upcountry Punjab. It still continues to be a status symbol, a necessary requirement for marriage, I'd say, for boys. Tractor hai ki nahi. So those are changes that you're seeing at ground level. Even in agriculture, we've got a technology called farm beats. What we help farmers and governments do is use satellite imagery, use weather data, use yield data from those farms to help them not only get loans. So I know where your land holding is. I know what yield you've reported for, what crop yield you've reported for the last few years. I know what the weather patterns are. I know what the soil is. And if I can use drones and IoT devices at the end point, or look at IoT devices in farm equipment, and that's happened very rapidly too. I can build analytical models and predict what kind of inputs you need to make in terms of seeds and fertilizers, and what kind of output you'll get in terms of yield. And therefore help you, given the new farm laws, help you go and forward sell your prospective yield to likes of Frito-Lay, and have those contractuals. So technology and this disruption is enabling everyone to reinvent themselves, to hasten efficiencies, to hasten changes in their systems and processes, to drive more efficiency, to create more value, not only for themselves, but also their customers and in the entire supply chain. And therefore, the new normal will perhaps be a better, more efficient way of working for us. Even healthcare. I get calls from established healthcare providers for video consults with doctors. My wife recently reached out to a doctor using an app to have a consult without really visiting the hospital, because this disruption does put that fear in us on is it safe to go to a hospital or not. So these are what we are seeing. These are transformations across industries, and Dr. Sharma had just talked about the fact that you guys are doing this. You haven't missed any classes. Your institution has continued to use technology to change the way you engage when it comes to education and academics. See, every opportunity, every disruption, if you look at it as an opportunity, especially from your career side, and very soon I'll pull all of this into how to make career choices. Whether it is cloud, whether it is Internet of Things, whether it is edge compute, right? I mean, we can all have strong, powerful data centers and processing machines at our headquarters. But what about people who are in the front line, who are going out and selling, or who are going out and procuring, or who are in your remote manufacturing unit? So what about those guys, or people who are working at an oil rig in the middle of the ocean? How do you support them? How do you get compute? How do you get technology? Or how do you enable them to transform themselves? Similarly, AI, and I talked about AI and the application on agriculture with farm beats. So And digital twins. This is again very interesting technology, and we've started now seeing a few of the customers looking at all of this kind of stuff. Essentially, you create digital living replicas of the physical environment, and track and do changes, do inputs into that digital model to see what happens, and therefore be in better control of forecasting and planning for the future. So innovations and opportunities abound in every sector, in everything. So when you guys get into the marketplace as new young managers, you'd see this transformation, and some of it is happening as we speak. But this is the baselining that you should do. That this is like Ria said, this is a change that's not going to stop. This will continue on and on. For us to be bigger, better, faster, cheaper in how we run our organizations and how we create value for customers, and in creating that value, how we create value for ourselves and our careers. As you think about your careers, whether you are on the whether you specialize in the operations and operations management side, or whether you specialize in product management side, or whether you specialize in HR and employee engagements, or whether you specialize in taking things to customers like I did many years back as a salesperson, or as a marketer, as a consumer marketer perhaps. Okay. Today, what is happening is that data capture and digital signals are present all across. If an organization does not have this data capture across customer signal or operational data signals or employee input, I mean, if employee input isn't captured, very soon you're going to lose those employees. Employees is competitive advantage in today's times. Similarly, product telemetry, all of those signals are coming in. We are generating petabytes of data, whether we're using phones, devices for organizational work. These signals are created at every point in time. I mean, 24/7. And therefore, it presents an opportunity to structure this data, to synthesize this data, and get insights from it. Data just by itself is useless. You have to have the ability of getting insights from it. So once you get insights from it, then you can take actions to drive deeper relationships with your customers, to have more effective employees, happier employees, to build better products that are connected with what the customers want, to have more efficient operations. So as you think of any functional specialization that you want to do over the next 5 years, or your first 4 or 5 years of your career, as you go deeper across functions, to find what really gives you the happiness and the satisfaction, you keep in mind that there is this digital feedback loop. There is this, forget digital for a minute, there is this feedback loop. And as managers, to create value, you need to be on top of this feedback loop, and you need to have those insights and therefore actions to create value in whatever you do. There are many paths to the future. Now, how do you choose which is best for you? And the answer is inside of you. Your value matters. You are the miracle. You are that privileged manager who's going to drive the GDP of this country, the profitability of your organization, and create value for yourself and your customers. The organization will hire you because they anticipate enjoying a value that they would not in absence of your service or somebody like yours, somebody similar to you. So as you learn discipline of marketing, you'll figure out what your competitive advantage should be, how should you differentiate yourself, apply it to yourself as a product. Because people don't buy products or hire services or hire people, they buy the results that they'll expect from you, what you'll be able to drive as outcomes. So even, tip for interviews, If you can, with an interviewer, always share, hey, this is what my skill is, and given what I have understood about your organization, here are the outcomes that I can drive. Especially as you get more and more experience and become a leader in your own right, you need to have this mindset of driving outcomes and driving results. Because see, your value and how you pitch it and how you yourself think about your value is what will build loyalty for you. Especially in disruptive times, what value you get on the table gets you loyalty from your employer, from your customers, from your friends and family, I'd say. So always focus on your action and behavior and the value that you can present. The hows of it, stay pivoted on results, create the differentiation, know your next best alternative, know what can replace you, know what your competition is, and therefore constantly focus on reskilling yourself and adding skills to yourself. And this, let me share a few of my own examples. I started out as a programmer. I went into technology sales. Then I went into analytics. Then I went into advertising, marketing communications. Then I went into product management, and now I'm more in a techno-commercial role where I'm working with partners and selling through those partners. I could have stayed linear in one line and been the best salesperson, built those relationships with my customers, but I chose to reinvent myself at points in time where I saw either an opportunity or a disruption. And it could be, hey, I have very strong competition. I may not get that role that I'm preparing myself for. What do I do? Will I lose the job? Should I add another skill to myself? Should I do something else that adds to my skill set and therefore makes me more relevant for that position, makes me more relevant for that company, makes me more valuable for that company, and therefore get the right return on investment for the effort that I put in. Keep in mind, Hindi has a great term, vetan. You get your salary is called vetan in Hindi. That's the money you get for spending your body. Tan ko ve karne ka paisa milta hai. So how do you maximize that ROI of your effort, your time away from your family? Is squarely pivoted in how you create value, and how you create value squarely pivoted on the results you can drive, which is your sum of the experience sets that you get, how you're focusing on reskilling yourself, adding to your skill sets, and you will always have choices. Do I go deeper in a discipline, or do I go broader in a practice? And therefore, how do I create that, continue to create that value for? Let me now relate it to your personal brand, and let me share our story. Microsoft reinvented itself from being a box solution seller, box packaged product seller, by Windows, by Office, by keyboards, by whatever we make, and then sell it and we forget it. To a completely cloud-focused company, from a product company to a services company. We used to say in earlier times in Microsoft, becho 3 saal ka contract karo, fill it, shut it, forget it, and then move on. Pretty much like the Hero Honda ad. Now we sell services. We sell services which have financially backed SLAs. If the service is down, I have to return money to my customer and face possibilities of lawsuits. Customers will not come to us if they don't trust us. Employees will not care for longevity if they don't trust the employee. People around you, in and around, in your human relationships, will not trust you if you're not a brand, a personal brand that can trust. And whatever we say, whether we say, we are serious about commitment to protect customers in a cloud-first world, uh, drop the cloud-first world. If you look at it as an individual, you have to be serious about your commitment to protect people around you, to all the engagements that you have with your customers, with your relationships. That's when you as a personal brand become trustworthy. Because in today's time, in today's disruptive times, trust is number one. We live by standards and practices designed to earn confidence. That's how our behavior is. We collaborate with people across the industry to build trust in the ecosystem. So I do not have a problem at all in working on Zoom technology today. It's a competitor for us, while we do have a competing product in Teams. But I mean, inside the Teams, you could pull in a Zoom video call too. So that's the openness of our platform also. And that, we believe, fosters trust. And if a customer can trust us as an organization, then we'll continue to be valuable for them. We'll continue to sell more solutions to them, and therefore create value for ourselves as an organization. And it applies squarely to an individual also. If me and my family, people around me, can trust me, and if I'm consistent in the standards that I live by, then people will engage with me more. I will have a more happy, fulfilling life, whether digital or in the physical world, whether it's in the disruptive world or once the world comes back together. Those will be our standards and practices, and our seriousness about our commitment is what will work towards trust, and trust is important for you. So 2 important messages for you: trust. Make sure you're building trust in your own brand, and creation of value. Introspect at different points in time. Once you've set yourself goals, introspect, do a check-in. Where am I at? Am I doing the right thing? Do I need to add new skills? Do I need to get more exposure? Should I do a stretch project in another department and acquire those skills to differentiate myself, to create more value? These principles, I think, if you can, I've benefited from them. I've gained for them. If you can apply them, I guess you will have disruption or no disruption. You will have people who trust you. You will have people who see value in what you do. And you will therefore always be creating value in the ecosystem for your customers, for your relationships, for your colleagues, for your peers, and keep moving forward. And disruptions will not stop you or become an impediment for you in your career growth. See, also keep in mind, again, let me go back to that inspiring few minutes that I heard the young lady speaking in your TEDx. You are the miracle, and your leadership does matter in the times to come. You are a few of those privileged few of our country. And let me talk to you a little bit about our leadership principles, because you will be joining organizations in the next a year or so, and you will be that leader, a manager. A manager is a leader. These are our leadership principles, our organizational leadership principles. These are leadership principles that every individual, every employee in Microsoft lives by. Our job as managers is to create clarity. We synthesize complex things. We ensure a shared understanding. We do not like to keep things to ourselves and therefore be that smart aleck who knows everything but doesn't share. We share. And we define a course of action. We put our opinion in front. Everyone's opinion is quite unique. We appreciate to what Dr. Sharma had said, diversity and inclusion. is not just about having regional diversity, gender-based diversity. Diversity and inclusion is also about liberating ideas. Every individual, senior, junior, different kinds of background, different kinds of religions, faiths, physical locations. Anyone can have an idea. And as leaders, as managers, so once you join an organization, it's your job to liberate every idea, to try every idea, learn from it, and then ensure shared understanding. Once you do that, you build a diverse, inclusive, trusting a work environment for all of you all to do more and create more value. You have to generate energy. And especially in these times, if you are not inspiring optimism, it is very easy to be pessimistic. It is very easy lose out in with all the news, especially if you listen to our news channels a lot. It is very easy to worry. China is coming, Pakistan is coming. Oh shit, pandemic, people are dying. It is not so. Inspire optimism around yourself. Look at that. What that young lady did. She took it on herself and cleaned up. And the path that she was walking, collecting a carload of plastic bottles. So inspire optimism. Be creative in how you think of confronting a situation. It's very easy to see a negative circumstance in front of you and taking the path of getting everyone's sympathy and walking out of it. It's difficult to confront it. And it's even more difficult to have an open mind and creatively to handle the situation or that negative thing. So have that growth mindset, generate energy. Energy does it's a fuel for me personally. I love engaging with people, and that's the only thing that I miss in this. I don't get feedback and questions in real time. I'd love to do high fives with you if I were there with you guys physically, because once you've built this energy, you'll build a strong organization and strong relationships around and deliver success. We are focused at success, and when we say success, our success lies in what our customers want, what people love. We are boundaryless in seeking solution. We have a solution mindset. We are happy to work with anyone. I gave you the example of Zoom and its integration inside Teams. We're happy to work with anyone. We've just launched an Android phone called Surface Duo. Who would have thought? 14 years back when I joined the company, would have thought that we'll go to Google for OS for a phone. So it's just that mindset that we want to build solutions that help each and every individual and organization on this planet to do more and achieve more. That's our mission. And therefore we are boundaryless in seeking solutions. And that's how you should be too. Be boundaryless. Work with peers, people who you think are competition, work with competitive people, and they're human beings on the competition side also. Get insights. How are they handling? Maybe you could work together. And tenaciously pursue the right outcomes. One of my managers said the simple thing to me, Anurag, whatever happens, do the right thing. Because that's what adds to your brand and your value. These leadership principles, I hope you'd be able to gain from them, apply them in your life. That's the reason I love the company. And, I've left it once. I spent 12 years in the company, and then I left to complete what I thought was my marketing path to become CMO for a company. But then I came back to the company because this culture, this environment helps me with the need for energy, with the need for building solutions that can have an impact in people's lives. So hopefully this helps you. Why is all this? People talk about disruption. People talk about choices, but pause for a little while and think. Tradition's gone out of the window now. Because in industry, and you've seen industry verticals across verticals, innovation trumps tradition. It's very easy, and especially at the pace of transformation that is happening, people are now giving up on the traditional roles. Whether you look at how procurement happens in an organization, traditionally sir nahi hamare yahan aise hi hota hai. It's people are dumping all of those things out, and trying to find innovative ways, basis the digital feedback loop that I had talked about. And there are examples, abound. I had, touched upon it earlier. I mean, look at the traditional companies and their life on, how much time they spend on the S&P 500 or on NASDAQ. Look at who was there on NASDAQ and who comprised of S&P 500 20 years back to now. Look at who are in the Fortune 500 companies. It's a stark reality. 188 of Fortune 500 companies from 1995 remain. Baki sab gaye. What happened to them? Because they failed to adapt, and therefore there are consequences. Evolution is important. This pandemic is an outlier, if I can use that term. This is accelerating this transformation, and you'd probably see a lot of further change in who gets onto the Bombay Stock Exchange Sensex 100 list, even in India. Those traditional companies are going away, and whether you talk about FANG, Facebook, Amazon, and Google and the likes, or whether you look at the digital companies that are up there in stock market, these are changing business models. It's been on. The disruption, this pandemic has accelerated it. Take these lessons into your personal brand, into how you skill yourself and how you adapt to a new reality where transformation, like change, becomes the constant, because innovation will trump tradition. Look at the Marcom discipline and how you write copy. Now I have technology that can write better copy than a human being, and agencies are experimenting with that. Why do I need a copywriter then? Or to flip it the other way, in times to come, I will really value a very experienced copywriter, because I want to differentiate what the machine's outputted. So there is going to be value, but how do you, get yourself into that niche? Look at consumption. I touched upon this. I mean, we spend more time on mobile phones now. And Netflix had shared that piece of stat. Most of their consumption happens on the move. So people are downloading where they have stable connection, whether at office or at home, and then they watch it when they are in an Uber or a Ola cab, or when they are doing their health routine, cycling. I saw a chap watching a Netflix movie while he was cycling. So cycle pe ja raha tha, known to me, he said, "Hey, I'm catching up on that." On that, whatever the serial was, Patal Lok or whatever, while he was cycling on the Bhulok. Artificial intelligence, I met with the Maruti people, and in some of their showrooms, they now have AR. You can walk into a sanitized area and use augmented reality to really engage with the product. And that then enables the customer to safely take decisions, or high-end motorcycle companies, and allowing you to have 360 view of motorcycles and all of that. So we are here. So technology again is focusing at building in newer engaging experiences for customers. ये तो हो रहा है. And the point is, ये सब जब हो रहा है, when all of this is happening around you, how do you, what lesson do you take from that? And I keep going back to Ria's point that change is the only constant. I'd say transformation is the only constant. You will continuously have to transform yourself to make sure you're relevant, you're creating value, you're differentiating yourself. Because any company can be disrupted, and if a company can be disrupted, an individual can be too. So therefore, to deliver value, you must adapt, you must reskill. And like I have, who would have thought a commerce graduate would, a finance marketing kind of a major would do analytics? I was running analytics at for our Windows live services. So at that point of time, Hotmail, SkyDrive, the predecessor of our cloud storage, 350 million active users at that point of time. And just to, I mean, if I landed a campaign to drive cross-sell and upsell, to drive deeper consumption with these guys, try and guess the amount of data I got back. And in my traditional mindset, I know SQL, I can store the data here, build a table, run a query and get insights from that. Do you know how much data I got? Or I was told that there is, because I couldn't get that data. That was for a 2-week long campaign. I mean, for a campaign that dropped and across cohorts for 14 days, the first 14 days, data was 5 petabytes. And here I was in my naivety with 2 server machines in my office. These will be strong enough for me to, I couldn't store that data. And this is like 8-10 years back. So therefore you have to quickly, you face a situation, you either say, nahi kar sakta. But the lovely thing about our company is that it allowed me to, to confront that challenge. Okay, go acquire that skill quickly, get some support from the engineering team to build the solution in the cloud and solve for it. Because at that point of time, the value I had was having a business mindset in a marketing mindset to the campaigns that we were doing. I faced a technical challenge, and then I solved the technical challenge with the specialists. I collaborated with people, added skill to myself, and then became a great digital analytics or marketing analytics person. Therefore, constantly be thinking of opportunities to reskill yourself and add to yourself. That's how you will thrive in ambiguity. You will face a lot of ambiguousness in your life, personal life as well as career. The more you think about it, the more you figure out opportunities out of those ambiguous situations, the more opportunities you create for yourself to skill yourself, differentiate yourself, the more you will add to your personal brand and the more value you will create. You have to move quickly and be relevant. You are the miracle. You are the leader. You are the engine that will drive innovation. Transformation is the only constant. You have to dream it and you have to do it. That's all I want to leave you guys with. I hope you find this conversation, this monologue mostly useful. I'll pause now, and if there are any questions, Ria and Ashutosh, if you could help me in channelizing those questions, I'd be happy to answer and share more of experiences that I have.
Sure, sir. So thank you so much for this highly knowledgeable and inspiring session. I'm very sure that the students will have a very good takeaway and from have a takeaway in such valuable insights which you have shared with us today on transformation being the actual change and the constant. So, so we have a few questions for you. I would now request Mridushi Singh to switch on her camera, turn on her mic, and go ahead with the question.
Good morning, sir. Sir, my question was, has there been times when your expectations about the response of a particular product did not meet reality? And how can a marketer handle such hurdles?
Yes, many times I'd say, and if you I don't say it in jest, but if you look at any version 1 of a Microsoft product, it always leaves the product managers a tad bit dissatisfied with what outcomes we could have done. Ashutosh, when he was introducing me, he talked about Windows 8 and the campaign that I won awards for. But that product in itself, while the campaign was fantastic, the product did not do well at all. We were coming off Windows 7. Windows 7 it's still used in many organizations. It was a very stable, very strong product. And then we, as product guys, we transformed the interface. What you see in Windows 10 now is because we took that big bet at that point of time. We thought we'd be more successful with Windows 8. We were not. We had to persist for a long time and do it. And I mean, historically, if I look back, if I take you back to the Windows Vista days, if you remember, if anyone remembers, you are all young, perhaps Dr. Sharma and Dr. Mathur might remember, but we did have something called Windows XP. That was a fantastic stable product. Everyone loves it. Everyone loved it. It's now completely gone, thanks to the great success we've had with Windows 10. But we followed it up with Windows, with another version of Windows that with Windows Vista that just did not work, and we spent a lot of money. As marketers, I can share with you the cost of a product that does not fulfill the customer's expectation, that does not deliver on the customer promise. The cost is huge. We spend millions and millions of dollars across the world to actually share that anecdote with you. We used to have launch a categorization of marketing dollars in our company. Whenever new product would come, we would do creating awareness campaign. So that dollar kitty was creating awareness. The other kitty was driving sales performance. So, money for sales promotions and, BTL activity, and then building communities to engage with developers and all. After the Vista launch, we created a new category, creating awareness and changing perception. And perception change is a huge expense. I mean, we would, so yes, we've had lots of failed products. I have worked on products with great enthusiasm. I was equally enthused to launch Windows Vista in the country. Though that was not my lead show, but I was on the marketing team then. For me to see the amount of excitement that we had created and then the product not deliver, that was, yes, a massive learning on the engineering side, on the product side. But lesson for you from those experiences that I've had is that look at these experiences over a continuum of time. There is no failure, there is no success or failure at that point of time. At that point of time, Windows Vista did not deliver on its promise, or Windows 8 did not deliver on its promise as the outcomes that we had expected or the customer's expectation. It did not do well. But that gave us the pedestal, or gave us the experience of how to further continue to innovate and how to further continue to grow on top of that product. It does help that we have, we don't have that much competition in that category, but in hyper competitive categories, it is, I mean, you could lose out market share big time.
Thank you so much, sir. I think now we'll go ahead with another question. Divyam Agarwal, if you may please switch on your camera and turn on your mic. You can go ahead with your question.
Hello, sir. Good morning.
Hi.
So my question to you is, seeing that the personality, habits, and attitude of today's consumer are constantly changing, how can marketers adapt to such situations or changes?
Yeah, देखो Divyam, that's the key. I will give you two answers to it. One is from the consumer side, and the other from the discipline of marketing side. See, it's your job as a marketing manager to understand what the consumer wants, and you have many things in your arsenal, many weapons to use. Whether you do focus groups, whether you do in-depth interviews, whether you do primary research, secondary research, whether you do A/B testing if it's a digital product, or you do control market tests if it's a CPG kind of a guy. There are many things in your marketing arsenal, in your marketing research arsenal, for you to have a finger on the pulse of the customer. So if your analysis is that नहीं यार customer ना बहुत frequently change कर रहा है अपनी requirement, हम नहीं इससे बात करेंगे, someone else will, brother. And therefore you have to have the agility and the nimbleness in your marketing practices to get those signals from the customer, from that target audience, to therefore take that into your product design and or your service design and take that out to market. The other way of thinking it is in what Dr. Adya Sharma had said in her thing. Diversity and inclusion is very important. We normally miss out. We as an organization, we try to address diversity with gender and geography and preferences a lot. And that's helped us because it gives you a different point of view. Because at the end of the day, देखो, आप सब जो employees हैं, जो आपकी company में काम करते हैं, वो भी तो consumers हैं. So I mean, it's not that the consumer is an alien. और उसको समझना मुश्किल है. People, employees are coming into your organization from that patch. So as it should not be a surprise to you that the innovation requirement in a product category or in a customer segment category is very high. It should be, if you find value in addressing the needs of that segment that requires a lot of innovation, and you can create value for an organization as in profitability, EBITDA and all of that, then for sure go ahead and invest. And then your competitive advantage could be how you invest. Look at how, I mean, we are now in a very competitive marketplace. We spend the highest amount of dollars worldwide on R&D, on research and development, just so we want it to be our competitive advantage. And if it's in a hyper competitive or hyper innovation kind of a segment, invest in, and you still see, as a business, you still see value in being in that product category, then for sure create differentiation and create those competitive advantages for you.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
I would now request Shipra Agrawal to turn on her microphone, switch on her camera, and ask her the question she has.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
So, having such an extensive experience in the marketing field at a renowned company, what skills and values do you think are the most important for young marketers today?
Look, there are, let me break it down into simple three things. Number one is get the fundamentals right. Irrespective of what the times are, the fundamentals don't change. If you specialize in marketing, I read in Kotler 4 Ps many years back, it became 5 Ps, 5.5 Ps, 6 Ps, whatever, but the fundamentals are still going to be the same. The fundamentals of marketing do not change, even after social media or not. The core fundamentals, still engagement, still return on investment. So the fundamentals will stay. So please make sure when you are scaling yourself that you focus on strengthening adding to the fundamentals. Stay true to the fundamentals of your discipline. They are unlikely to change. Fundamentals are not traditions that can be debunked. Fundamentals are what the foundation of your career is. Second is be open to opportunities. As youngsters, do as much as you can, because that will give you exposure into different aspects of an organization. Work in smaller companies. For the first 10 years of my working life, I was not working for big brands. I was working for smaller companies, media companies and internet companies. So get that exposure, build on your fundamentals, and stay true to the value that you're delivering, the personal brand that you're building, and therefore the success will come to you. So 3 things that I said: fundamentals, be open to opportunities to learn new skills, and constantly work on creating value, and you'll be successful.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.